And now, one thing really important, a lot of people are saying that they think that Meghan and her team leaked this to the Sun. I don't think that's accurate. I really don't think it's accurate. They hate the Sun so much. The Sun is very much Team Wales. If Meghan and her side were going to leak anything, it would be appearing in the American tabloids. It wouldn't be appearing in the Sun. That's not to say, that I know for a fact. I don't know who Matt Wilkinson in the Sun. I don't know who his sources are, but I can have a pretty good guess from the tone of the description, and it seems like Harry thinks that he knows who it is, who it is too.
Right then, picture this. London, the city that never really sleeps, where every corner has a story, and every shadow could be hiding a secret. It's a crisp September day in London, and Prince Harry decides to pop over to his old man's place for a cuppa. But this isn't just a casual family visit. This is the kind of day that has the city buzzing before anyone even knows what's happening. But this isn't just any old drop-in. There's a sense of anticipation in the air, as if everyone's holding their breath, waiting for something big to unfold. This is a top-secret cloak and dagger operation, a proper Mission Impossible-style dash to Clarence House. Harry's arrival is shrouded in secrecy, with only a handful of people in the know. The goal? A 55-minute chat with King Charles, their first proper face-to-face in ages. Not just a quick hello, but a real sit-down conversation, one that's been a long time coming. You can just imagine the tension, the drama, the sheer awkwardness of it all. Two royals, father and son, with a mountain of history between them, trying to find common ground in less than an hour. Of course, keeping a secret in London when you're Prince Harry is about as easy as smuggling a giraffe onto a bus. The city's full of eyes and ears, and the royal family's every move is watched like a hawk. The British tabloids, bless them, have reporters who can probably smell a royal from 3 postcodes away. They're relentless, always on the hunt for the next big scoop, and nothing gets past them for long. The second Harry's car pulled away, you could almost hear the collective sound of journalists frantically dialing their sources. What was said? Was it a row? A reconciliation? Theories start flying before the car even hits the end of the street. The world was on the edge of its seat, desperate for the goss. From London to Los Angeles, everyone wanted to know what really went down behind those closed doors. The whole thing was over in less time than it takes to watch an episode of a decent telly show. 55 minutes, barely enough for a proper catch-up, let alone a royal heart-to-heart. Harry was in and out like a flash, a silent phantom disappearing back into the London traffic. No grand farewells, no waving to the cameras, just a swift exit, leaving everyone guessing. The brevity of the visit only added to the mystery, leaving a vacuum that the tabloids were more than happy to fill with their own brand of creative storytelling. Rumours swirled, headlines screamed, and speculation ran wild. Honestly, the whole setup was just ripe for chaos. Newsrooms across the country went into overdrive, phones ringing off the hook, editors demanding answers nobody really had. The stage was set for the great royal rumour mill to crank into overdrive. And as always, the truth was likely far stranger and far more private than anything the headlines could dream up. No sooner had the palace gates clicked shut behind Harry than the rumour mill went from 0 to 100. The tabloids, led by The Sun, went absolutely bananas, creating a masterpiece of pure fiction. Within hours, stories started popping up online, each one more far-fetched than the last. According to these reports, the meeting wasn't tense. It was a heartwarming reunion special. They painted a picture of a prodigal son returning to the fold, welcomed back with open arms. The narrative was that Harry, filled with remorse, had come to talk about bringing the family back into the royal orbit. It was pure, unadulterated, weapons-grade speculation, and the public was lapping it up. The devil, as they say, is in the details, And when it comes to the British tabloids, those details are often more fiction than fact. Every word, every headline, every so-called exclusive is carefully crafted to draw you in, to make you believe you're getting a glimpse behind the palace gates. And the details the tabloids invented were truly a sight to behold, each more outlandish than the last, as if the truth simply wasn't entertaining enough for their hungry readers. This wasn't just a story about a meeting, it was a festival of fabricated fluff, a masterclass in creative writing masquerading as journalism. Reporters seemed to compete for the most dramatic, heartwarming, or scandalous spin. Harry, they claimed, had come bearing a precious framed photograph of his family, a beautiful olive branch wrapped in sentimentality and hope. The tabloids painted him as the prodigal son, returning with a peace offering meant to heal old wounds. The papers reported that the meeting ended with not just a handshake, but with father and son exchanging warm hugs and affectionate kisses on the cheek. It was as if the royal family had suddenly become a cast of characters in a feel-good holiday movie. The image they were selling was one of complete and utter forgiveness, a tender moment of paternal and filial love, as if years of tension could be swept away in a single embrace. The articles were full of quotes from sources close to the prince, who insisted he was desperate for a half-in, half-out role, anonymous voices that always seemed to know exactly what the royals were thinking. They were spinning a yarn about a flexible modern monarchy where Harry could swoop in for important events, a sort of royal freelancer, always ready for a photo op or a family milestone. The sheer audacity of it all is what gets me. The tabloids didn't just blur the line between fact and fiction, they bulldozed right over it, leaving readers both amused and bewildered. The level of detail was meant to convince you that the reporter was practically in the room, eavesdropping on every whispered word and capturing every meaningful glance. It was, in short, pure poppycock, but it was bloody entertaining poppycock at that. In the end, perhaps that's what the tabloids do best, turn the mundane into the magnificent, and keep us all coming back for more. As the world was busy dabbing its eyes at the thought of Charles and Harry finally hugging it out on the grand stage, a question started to bubble up in hushed tones. Who, exactly, was leaking all this sensational stuff to the press? Someone, somewhere, was deliberately feeding the tabloids a carefully crafted narrative for their own reasons. The leaks were coming fast and furious, suggesting the source was someone with a vested interest in shaping the public's perception of the royals. The mystery only deepened, and the plot, as they say, thickened like a pot of forgotten gravy left simmering on the stove. Just as the Blame Meghan brigade was getting into full swing, a few proper royal experts stepped in to pour a big bucket of cold water on the theory. Royal commentator Tom Sykes stated emphatically that the idea of the Sussexes leaking to the Sun was utter nonsense. If not the Sussexes, then who? The experts started looking in the other direction, across the royal courtyard to the other team. Sykes and others suggested that the Sun is very much Team Wales, implying a cosy relationship with Prince William. The motive? To control the narrative, perhaps to make Harry look like the desperate one. It's a game of chess, and the tabloid press is the board. It pointed to a rift between the brothers that is so deep, so toxic, that their own teams are allegedly engaged in a proxy war. Just when the tabloids thought they could get away with their little fairy tale, spinning stories that tugged at the public's heartstrings and painted a picture of royal reconciliation, reality came knocking. Team Sussex decided they'd had enough of the endless speculation and the constant barrage of misleading headlines. In a move that was rare, bold, and frankly, quite satisfying to watch, they took matters into their own hands and set the record straight for everyone to hear. Harry's spokesperson dropped a bombshell that reverberated through the press room, catching many off guard. They released a strongly worded statement that didn't just deny the rumours, it napalmed them, leaving no room for misinterpretation or spin. The spokesperson blasted the reports of hugs, kisses, and reconciliation talks as categorically false and pure invention, making it clear that the supposed emotional reunion was nothing but fiction. The heartwarming reunion story was officially a load of rubbish, no matter how many times it was splashed across the front pages. The spokesperson revealed that during the so-called meeting, the atmosphere was anything but warm or familial. Harry felt less like a son visiting his dad and more like an official visitor, treated with the formality and distance reserved for dignitaries, not family. The only tiny shred of truth in the tabloid deluge was the existence of a gift, but even that was far from the sentimental gesture the papers described. Harry's team confirmed that a framed photograph was indeed given to King Charles, but it wasn't the family keepsake the tabloids imagined. However, they clarified that the photo did not feature Harry, Meghan, or their children. No touching family portrait, just a generic image. The meeting wasn't a breakthrough, it was business, cold, formal, and a far cry from the fairy tale the tabloids tried to sell. And so the curtain falls on another utterly bonkers episode of As the Palace Turns. What did we learn? We learned that a 55-minute meeting can spawn 1,000 headlines. The whole saga was a perfect microcosm of the modern royal family, a bit of genuine family drama, a whole lot of media madness. It's the greatest soap opera on earth, and it doesn't even require a television subscription. At the end of the day, this secret meeting wasn't the heartwarming reunion everyone hoped for. It was just awkward. The real story isn't about hugs or presents. It's about the sad reality that this family is still deeply fractured. The royal soap opera will roll on, with its cast of conflicted characters and its endless supply of plot twists.